What's up, crew? Hope you're having a rad day. I'm Alan. This is the MTB Alan channel. Check to see if you're subscribed. If that little subscribe button down in the corner is red, hit it. I'll show up in your feed and you'll be supporting the channel. And you'll also be getting fresh mountain biking content from me every Monday. In this episode, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be watching the video with you and then commenting on what's going on in my brain and describing some of the things that the GoPro might not necessarily be conveying very well. So let's go ahead and drop me down into the corner, squeeze me down in a little box. Okay, so this might be familiar to you. We are at the top of the main descent of the post office loop. The last time we were up here, we were riding with Katie and I was showing around on the trails and we're just taking it kind of mellow. Today, a little disc bump there. We are up here with Matt, who is pretty dang fast, and I'm doing my best to keep up with him, as well as trying not to die. The trying not to die took precedent and I didn't keep up with Matt very much. So we are going as fast as we can safely on this trail. The post office loop is in Angelus Oaks. It's a classic single track, OG single track. I really dig this trail because while it can be considered a somewhat XC trail, this section of the trail is mostly descending and you can definitely get pretty fast and have quite a bit of fun on this trail. It's a classic SoCal trail in that it's a contour trail, which means it, kind of maintains along the contour of the mountain. But it's also classic in that a lot of it is degraded DG. Is it degraded? Anyway, degraded granite DG. Definitely has these nice flowy sections. Here I'm trying to maintain momentum. I'm definitely getting on my pedals more than I normally do to keep up with Matt. This section is a lot of DG that's a little bit off camber. I'm trying to stay off the brakes while also knowing that I've got a switchback coming up that I don't want to come in too hot. So here, I had a little bit of skidding. Trying not to skid because I want to maintain average speed and I also want to be nice to the trail maintainers. Get some really beautiful views on this trail. I have a lot of appreciation for the people doing maintenance on this trail. There's a section up here where their work is invisible to you unless you've been riding this trail for any amount of time for more than a few seasons. So this is that section of trail. These Manzanitas on either side of the trail, they will take over the trail. So people have come in, it might have just been one person, but people have come in and cut this foliage back and made it so you can ride through here. Normally you're having to just drive through these and these are just grabbing your handlebars. Here's another place where I'm coming in a little bit slower than normal to maintain average speed and not tear up the trail too much. More Manzanita. Really appreciated this, that you could move through this without just... Normally the sound through here is just, oh, hey, look, I caught a little bit of air there. Yeah, really appreciate that work. That little bit of air I caught there is, I think, some evidence of how my riding has progressed. Normally I'm just trying to not go off trail here, but I've gotten comfortable enough to be able to actually look for places where I can catch air. But that log there and that log there, I'm always scared of hitting my pedal on. That's one of the things about this trail. The trail maintainers do work on it and try to have a minimum amount of impact on the natural terrain. Just kind of keep it raw and rugged. There's a feature up here that used to really mess me up as I was a beginner, and it's still kind of like a psychological hitch in my brain. These little rocks right up here. I always knew the left line. Oop, this is the first time I took that left line. I always knew that left line would be better because it sets you up better for the next turn. I was always scared to do it, and even more recently, I didn't do it, and that was the first time I did it, and I was like, oh, whatever. So that was nice to see. Oh, a little bit of a dab there. I'm really working hard here. You can hear it in my breath. I am continuing to breathe through my nose to kind of keep myself from spiking too much, but I am working to keep up momentum, keep hitting the pedals as much as I can. Oh, I love those kind of turns in those dips. I talked about that in one of my air horn raw vlogs about breathing through your nose. This is a good example of that. The switchback where you kind of have to take your time through it, otherwise you just go off the edge. Nice speedy section through here. I always want to go over that boulder on the left. I've never done it. I don't know what'll happen if I do it. Hey, look at that. More air. I just love how continuous this ride is. Good speed through here. There's a little rut that the camera doesn't show that I try to catch there so I can make that turn without hitting the brakes too much. This is one of the cleanest sections of the trail. It's just beautiful, really nicely benched, nicely cleared out. It's one of the first places I ever did maintenance on a trail. I had done a little bit of digging here and there. Oh, there's Matt. Matt's all stoked because I was kind of keeping up. But that section back there was the first place I'd ever done any like clearing, and that was really satisfying. Here's a place where like I'm always trying to figure out what line to do, and I always do the same line. I always go between those two rocks. So I was scared of losing my derailleur, but so far it's been good. But yeah, that type of clearing maintenance, it's interesting because it's really satisfying to do and benefits everybody, but it's kind of invisible. It's non-glamorous work, but it's good work. Here's another place. I always try to decide to go left or right on that rock. My brain always does the calculation. I always end up going left. I always end up with the same answer. Go left. This is one of those turns where if you come in too fast, it's really easy to go off the right side there. Another down and up. This is one of my favorite parts of this trail. You go under this. I always duck. I probably don't need to. And then I go up over this rock on the left, open this turn up, and come through with momentum. I came through with enough momentum to get that little bit of air there. That's the first time I've ever gotten that fast over that section. Stoked on that. It's another one of those dip turns. I don't know what to call those. Tell me what those are called. Where you're in the little cut. I love those. Naturally banked turns, maybe that's what we call it. Nice flowy section. That's rocky on the right. I've definitely gone up there before and it's gone bad. Just because it's rougher than it looks. More homage to the trail maintainers up here. There's a section up here where there used to be a big just root ball, like right in the middle of the trail, like tearing that thing up. I don't know what kind of machinery was used, but it's right here, right there. You can see some of that brown stuff. Like you used to have to go up and around. It was really hard to do with any kind of speed. You couldn't ride over it. You had to hike a bike it, and it slowed you down. I did PR on this day, and I want to say that that's probably the main reason I PR'd on this day. Yeah. Some off-camber DG here. Again, trying to maintain speed, trying not to use the brakes too much so that I don't slide. These rocks want to catch my pedals, so I'm watching out for those. So here I'm kind of preparing because it is a little bit steeper than it may appear on camera, but now it's flattened out a little bit, and then I'm trying to also maintain momentum because if you get slow in here, places like right here where I almost get off balance, you can easily go off the cliff to the left. That exposure is real. And then here is the most extreme exposure on the trail. You can hear me dumping some gears because there's a tiny little bit of a climb here, but really I want to be in a good gear because after I cross the stream, look out for the poison oak on the right. Yikes. Okay, I want to pedal and fail. Yeah, this is a great place to take selfies though. It's really beautiful. There's a stream, a little bit of waterfall, but we are trying to go fast. I'm trying to catch up with Matt. There he is. I've caught up with him kind of on the hike bike. I asked him later. He didn't stop and wait for me at any point, so this was pretty cool. I've definitely punched that rock there on the right. Watch out for that. Can bruise your knuckle pretty good. Yeah, so now we're in the real hike-a-bike. You know, if Matt is hike-a-biking, it's a legit hike-a-bike. But there was a lot of maintenance done here. This used to be all just like chunky, jagged rock. But you can see that there's been some dirt packed into here to make this easier to hike. Got to remember this is a mixed-use trail, so it's got to be good for hiking too. But before, there was a section where you would be holding your bike like on your shoulder and stepping into a spot where there was just enough space for your feet. You were on this ledge and you were just looking at a really significant drop. I don't know how far the drop was, but if you fell off of it, it would be a bad day and you would have a whole series of bad days after that. So it's nice that like you can at least hike this in a relatively safe fashion now. So I'm gonna do a little bit of hike-a-biking here, so I'm gonna like fast forward to when we're back and pedaling on the bike. Okay, so we're back up on the pedals, working to maintain what momentum I can so that I don't go sliding down the cliff. There's an area up here where more work has been done. Again, just have a lot of gratitude for the people working on this trail, because right here to the like I've never really been able to like make it through there because it just was too sketchy. I was able to make it through pretty nicely today, or on this day. That was nice. Again, more rocks to potentially punch. I suggest not punching them. And here the trail is very contoury in that it's like relatively flat. So, you know, it's a little bit up and down. Flat meaning like, you know, there's like zero net gain or loss. So just trying to maintain momentum until we get back to a descent. Trying to go fast and ignoring all the beauty that's around me. Here's some evidence of some great old work that was done, some past trail maintenance that was done to cut off these logs. Some recent work. Chainsaws been brought up here, I think, or brought down here. Yeah, a lot of the times at this point I'm just in a mellow gear and just, you know, cruising because we're getting towards the end of the ride. But on this day I was staying on it and working. No, I'm clearly not keeping up with Matt, but you know, he's fast and he's in front of me, so I'm gonna do what I can to at least minimize how long he has to wait at the end of the trail. This section here I've come across before where it was just a slope of dirt and DG, and you just kind of had to imagine where the trail was and try not to go sliding down the mountain. And then finally we start getting back to some nice dirt. When you see grass, then you can see that the dirt is stabilized enough for some grass to be there. And now I'm like feeling good because we're starting to get closer to a little bit more flow. Starts to feel more like the upper part of the trail. That's the thing about this trail. You start going like sweets. Starting to get back into some more flowy descending trail. And then it's over. But here's some more evidence of work that's been done. I talked about this in the last time I was up here on camera. Here I'm like tired, I'm dying.
Yeah, dude. You're cruising. That's fast. Oh, I was working.
I was definitely working.
Working through this pedally sections.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that the sections that I normally just cruise through, the pedally sections, on that day I was like working pretty hard.
Nice. So you hadn't stopped right there? What's that? When you yelled out, you hadn't stopped? No. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So see, he didn't stop at all. Matt don't lie.
I'll stop right here.
Yeah, I was pretty out of breath. Yeah.
What?
So yeah, that's pretty much that section of the trail. After that, it's a climb up a unmaintained service road onto an actually maintained service road, up that, and then it's up that service road back to the 38, and then back to the car. So yeah, that's that. I hope you dug this. It's a little bit different than the normal kind of thing I do. Hopefully this gave you a little bit more insight on the post office loop, or at least this section of the post office loop. Hit that like button. Check to see if you're subscribed. If you're not, hit that subscribe button and I'll show up in your feed and you'll be supporting the channel. And with that, I'll see you next week.